Hello everyone! Today we are going to be learning how to sew this beginner-friendly Churn Dash quilt block. We're going to be doing the 9-inch size today. I have measurements for 6-inch, 12-inch, and 15-inch finished quilt blocks, so if you would like those measurements, just leave a comment below. To get started, you're just going to need 2 fabrics of your choice. You will need a rotary blade. You will need a measuring tool of your choice, and then this is optional, but I like to use this heat erasable pen for the half square triangles. For fabric A, you're going to need 2 4-inch squares, 4 2-inch by 3.5-inch rectangles, 1 3.5-inch square. For fabric B, you will need 2 4-inch squares and 4 2-inch by 3.5-inch rectangles. To get started, we're going to take the 4 4-inch squares that we cut and go ahead and draw a diagonal line from corner to corner on 2 of those. So after you have those 2 diagonal lines on 2 of the same color fabrics, you're going to go ahead and place those right sides together, like so. And once you have those right sides together, go ahead and sew 1/4 inch away on both sides of that diagonal line. Now that we have both of those pieces sewn 1/4 inch away from that diagonal line, we're just going to go ahead and cut right down the middle. And now that we have 4 of those half square triangles, you can go ahead and open them up, take them over to your iron and press them open, making sure to press from the light side to the dark side. Now that you have all 4 of those half square triangles pressed open and nicely laying flat, I'm just going to go ahead and square mine off. We are going to square these up to about 3.5 inches. Now you can do this however you like. I like to take that diagonal line on my ruler and I just line it up with the center. I'm going to make sure that I have 3.5 inches on my other side before I cut. I sew with kind of a wonky seam allowance. I'm not perfect at it, so I like to just give myself room so that I can get all 4 sides even. We're just going to flip it around and you're going to do the same on that side, except this time you want the final cut to be exactly 3.5 inches. So I line up that diagonal line and then I put my 3.5 inch mark down here and make sure that it's lining up on that side as well. And then go ahead and cut. Right, and there is my lined up perfectly even 3.5 square inch triangle, or half square triangle, and go ahead and do that with the last 3 pieces. Okay, and now that I have all 4 of those squared up, they measure 3.5 inches by 3.5 inches, and make sure to take your time when cutting. I am no expert by any means, but if you take your time to get everything nice and squared up, it's going to make your finished blocks look so much better. Okay, now is the time when I kind of like to go ahead and lay out what my final square is going to look like. So we're going to go ahead and lay out those corner pieces. Now you're going to take the 3.5-inch block that you cut from fabric A, and then this is the fun part when it really starts to come together. You want to go ahead and place those 4 rectangles of fabric B around the middle block of fabric A, and go ahead and sandwich those in with the rectangles from fabric A. So now you can kind of see our block is coming together. The final step before we can start sewing all of the rows together is you want to go ahead and sew all of those sets of rectangles together. So what you're going to do is just face them right sides together, take them over to your sewing machine, and sew a 1/4 inch seam allowance down one side. Okay, and now that I have all 4 of those sewn together, I'm just going to take those over to my iron and press them over. Again, I like to press from the light side to the dark side. Now that those are all nice and pressed, we can go ahead and lay them back out, and we can kind of start to see what our final block is going to look like. From here on out, it's super easy. When we're putting together a quilt block, we just like to sew left to right on each row. And then once we do that, I'll be back and show you. We're going to press them and then sew each row together, and then you're going to have your finished block. So I'm just going to nest my seams. What you want to do is flip over your top to your middle piece. You want to have right sides together. Line up those nested seams like so. I like to pin mine in place, and then just take that over to your sewing machine, and then we'll be back to attach the bottom piece. Okay, move that bottom piece back down. I have my, oops, I still have a pin in it. So just take your pins out, make sure you don't lose any of those and poke yourself. But now I have my top and middle piece sewn together. Now I'm just gonna go do the same thing with the bottom. Flip it over, make sure to line those seams up, pin it in place, and take it to your sewing machine. Okay, now that I have all 3 rows sewn together, all that's left to do is iron it and then square off the edges. So I'm gonna flip it over. You can iron this however you want. You can just press the seams to the side, but when I finish a block, I like to go ahead and iron my pieces or my seams to be open flat like this. I just find that it lays a little bit easier. So I'm gonna go press both of these 2 seams that we just sewed open, and then I'll bring it back, and we're gonna go ahead and square it off, and then you're gonna have your final quilt block. Here is my quilt block, all nice and pressed. I'm gonna go ahead and square this quilt block up because I am not a perfect sewist, so I have some imperfections around the edges. We did sew a 9-inch quilt block today. My only tip for you when squaring this up, you can do it however you like, however you usually do it, but I would just make sure to leave at least a 1/4 inch between the points on each side and the edge. Sometimes it doesn't always work up like that, but when you attach this to another quilt block, that 1/4 inch that you leave is going to be eaten up. And you know, in quilting, we like to see our nice pretty points. This is obviously not perfect, so we're gonna shoot for as close to we can get as a 1/4 inch between each point and edge, but I'm gonna go ahead and square this up, and then we will be done. All right, and then you've got your finished Churn Dash quilt block. Again, this is the 9-inch quilt block. I do have measurements to do a 6-inch, a 12-inch, and a 15-inch. If you guys would like more information on that, just go ahead and leave a comment below. I will be doing more of these tutorials, so if you like this, please like, subscribe, comment down below what kind of block you want to see next. I try to do a lot of easy, beginner-friendly quilting tutorials. And for those of you who are new to quilting, you can take this block, take this video, and just replicate it over and over again, and you will have a beautiful Churn Dash quilt. So if you guys liked this video, go ahead and like, subscribe, leave a comment below, and I will see you next time. Bye guys.